Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's late August, and, well, that means the summer movie season is over. The blockbuster films have basically been over since Expendables 2, but I wanted to see if The Possession would, be worthy of a great horror installation, and it's okay, but not much more. So it's time to look back over this summer 2012, and how did it turn out? Well, overall, I'd say it was a good summer. We got some excellent sequels, some new stuff as well, and let's kind of look back, or at least look back at the movies I've seen. There's obviously stuff out there that I did not catch because there's conflicting movies, or I was doing something else. I don't get paid for this. You pay me for this stuff, and we'll talk. But let's start off. Really, the summer movie season started off with The Avengers, and that was on a high. That is a very good place to start off the summer movie season. One of the highest box offices of all time. Universally loved by everyone. Great script. Great special effects. Again, great script. I really like the writing in this. Very Josh Whedon. He pulls off the characters very well. He was able to write it so everyone felt for a movie that takes everybody from different movies and crams them all into one. Everyone really does feel like they came from their movie. Like that character did not change from the previous film, so you don't have a character where all of a sudden somebody's acting completely different from how they were acting in previous movies, which is really good and really hard to pull off. I'll get back to this in a bit, because let's just run through all the movies of the summer. Then we had, Battleship. Yeah. I ranted for nearly an hour on that one, and I'm going to get back to that one in a second when I announce my most of the summer, but all in all, yeah, that was a stinker, and that one deserved to be sunk, pun intended. Let's see. We also had, of course, the Chernobyl Diaries, which was also bad. That was a bad week or two. Chernobyl Diaries, not very good right there. We had, of course, Snow White and the Huntsman, which was surprisingly good. I was expecting something a little bit worse, but it surprised me. It was a decent start to June. Charlize Theron was wonderful as the villain in that. The only problem, of course, is that you're trying to say Kristen Stewart is good looking is the fairest of them all, and you're kind of looking at her and Charlize Theron, and you're going, no, it's very obvious Charlize Theron is the fairest. That's out of the two, I'd bone her. Sorry if that was a little vulgar, but that's basically what they mean by that. But overall, it was actually a surprisingly good film. I was surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did. Then, of course, we had Prometheus, which is probably one of the most divisive, if I'm using the term correctly here, movies, in that it really did divide the audience. A lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't, and it really, I've kind of narrowed down. There's sometimes where there's a scene earlier in the movie where it's not done right, and then people can't get off that. And that's what happened, I think, with Prometheus. A lot of people did not like how those two scientists that get separated from the group act and handle things, and that causes people then to nitpick throughout the rest of the movie. Overall, I liked it. I think it's a good installment, and I think over time, people, much kind of like how Alien 3, over time, people are going, really, Alien 3, I kind of liked it. It had some things going for it. I think that's what will happen with Prometheus. I think the people that have said they liked it, including myself, are going to stick by that. But I think over time, some people are going to stop with the nitpicking and kind of go, yeah, Prometheus wasn't that bad. After they go see some other bad sci-fi movies, they'll go, you know what? Yeah, Prometheus was fine. Yeah, it did some cool stuff. And it was just that one little scene that people hated. Well, there was more flaws than just that, but I enjoyed it. It was certainly one of the highlights for me of the summer. Next up, we had Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which I did like. It gave me everything I wanted. And, however, since its time has passed, it is forgettable. I think that's the biggest flaw of this movie. It's very forgettable, where I almost forgot I had seen this movie until I gave a quick look over of my summer movies. But it is enjoyable. It's one of those, I think, that's going to be one of those TV. Like, if it's on TV, you're going to watch it, but you won't actively seek it out. I think that's its fate. But it's worth giving it a look. If you haven't seen it, rent it, or get stream it on Netflix. It's worth a single watch at least. Then we had the Amazing Spider-Man, the relaunch of the series, and it was good. It was surprisingly good. I like this better than the Raimi films. Although I was never a strong fan of the Raimi films. There was something a little off. I think it's because of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, even though it was set in the modern day, was really the 60s Spider-Man. I think this one's a much better fit for a modern comic book fan. I think it's more enjoyable. It feels more like it's in the present. They updated stuff, and they updated stuff so that it fit better. Aunt May is not this really kind of off old woman. Like, you don't see that type of old woman anymore, the Aunt May type. One that looks so old, like she's supposed to be in her 60s, but by modern standards she looks like she's in her 80s or her 90s. In this one, Aunt May looks like a modern 60-year-old woman, which for the 60s looked like a 40-year-old woman or even a 35-year-old woman sometimes. Medical science, hey, it's great. And they did other updates as well. And overall, I liked it. I think it was a stronger film. Then, of course, we had The Dark Knight Rises, which I enjoyed. I did not enjoy it as much as The Dark Knight, but I thought it was a proper end to the series. Some people did not like how it went. They wanted it to be more, it was a Bruce Wayne movie. It wasn't as much Batman, which is why this is why I say, I think the Nolan films are going to be like the original Star Wars trilogy, where, the third one was good, but most people do not list that as their favorite. Some people like the first one better. Most people like Empire better. Then we have Total Recall, which I did recommend. I did say it was decent, but the more time passes, the more you kind of can see why a lot of people did not like it. This is kind of one of those that maybe if it was a completely different, it wasn't Total Recall. If they just made up some other name and it has some elements, just change a few things, maybe it would be better. God, I wish they went back to actually making original science fiction movies for once. But it's a middle of the road, and it's also probably somewhat forgettable. It's not going to be as well remembered as the Schwarzenegger one. It'll probably fade over time the more I think about it. Although it's still worth a watch. And then we have The Expendables 2. I love the hell out of Expendables 2. Go see this movie. It's still in theaters as I'm recording this. Obviously, you're watching this a long time from now. It's not. It's on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever futuristic thing you have now. Go check this out. It is an action extravaganza. Really, really liked it. Go check it out. So now that I've said all that stuff, what is my favorite movie of the summer? And, well, no big surprise. This is somewhat stereotypical. It's The Avengers. I think as time progresses, The Avengers is going to be one I'm going to watch a lot, that I'm going to want to go back to, that I have a really fun. Although I will say, runners-up is Expendables 2. This was kind of a tough choice for me. These are both very, very great films. Are they in the top 10? I don't know. I don't know if I'd put any of these in my top 10 yet. And, I'm a guy that sees a lot of movies. So to get my top 10 is to be very elite. And it takes time for me to elevate a movie to that status. It took me several months before I was even willing to say that Sherlock Holmes, the first one of the Robert Downey ones, it was one of my top 10 favorites. And that's only number like 10. So we'll see if either, over time the Expendables might replace the Avengers, but thus far. And I know some people are probably going, what, Dark Knight not even up there? It was a great film. Prometheus was a great film too. I really like these movies. We're just picking which one I enjoyed the most, and I really, really enjoyed The Avengers for everything that I've talked about already in the review. As for the worst movie that I've seen this summer, well, that goes to Battleship. It's stupid plot, stupid direction, stupid aliens, stupid everything. God, God, still can't get over that they fucking retrofitted a World War II battleship in a couple of hours with a skeleton crew and a few old guys and took it into combat. And it won. Really? I still say they could have. You could have done this correctly. If you wanted to have a battleship, have them make a modern battleship. Something like an arsenal ship, and it goes rogue, or everybody thinks it's gone rogue, but it's really some admiral is trying to take over or start a war, and only this battleship can stop them. That's about it. And out of the movies I saw, what comes second? Probably Chernobyl Diaries. Oh, and I forgot to mention The Possession because I just saw it, so I don't think of it as movies I've seen. Possession's kind of out there in the middle. Alright, Possession's kind of right in the middle of the road of all the movies I've seen this year. It was enjoyable, but it probably will wind up like Vampire Hunter as forgettable, although it's not a bad exorcism film. It's one of the better ones, but there are a lot out there, and it's not quite up to the level of The Exorcist. So, what do we have to look forward to? Well, the fall movie season is looking rather good, actually. Normally there's only a couple of movies I want to see, but this year it looks like I'm going to be busy. Let's take a look here. In September, we got... I'm looking. Resident Evil Retribution, which, I guess I'll save what I'm going to talk about with Resident Evil when I see it, but I've done reviews of the previous Resident Evil films. My opinions on that franchise. Horrible interpretation of the video games, but on their own, they are kind of up my alley. You'd have to check out my reviews to really understand what I mean. What else? We, of course, have Dread 3D, which I will hopefully be able to catch a 2D showing of because I don't like 3D. So we do have that. I believe we have Argo coming up as well, which looks interesting. We haven't seen anything really on the Iranian Revolution, so that's something I'm looking forward to. There's Taken 2, which is actually both Argo and Taken 2 are in early October. Taken 2, it looks like a good action movie, but it just feels unnecessary. We, of course, have Paranormal Activity 4, which I always tend to catch the Paranormal Activity movies after they come out, to DVD. Then, of course, we have on October, we have both Cloud Atlas and Silent Hill Revelations coming out on the 26th. I did kind of like the Silent Hill movie, except for what the director tried to do with the reason why he made it a mother and not a man. It did kind of piss me off, but they might be fixing that a bit in this one. We'll see. I have a feeling Cloud Atlas is going to win because that looks like a very unique film. And then, of course, in November, we've got... Looking at here, actually there's not a whole lot. We have Red Dawn, which I'm debating about seeing, and of course we have Skyfall, which I'm definitely seeing. So, there's some good stuff, and of course December we get that quick holiday movie season where we're gonna have The Hobbit coming out. I'm not so thrilled about Jack Reacher, the Tom Cruise movie. Nah, but Django Unchained. That looks fun. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more of the shooty that we did not get in Expendable Bastards. And we're basically told we were going to get in Expendable Bastards. Did I just call it Expendable? I did just call it Expendable Bastards. I apologize. Inglourious Bastards. I have Expendables on the mind still. So it looks good. Not going to get into summer 2012 yet because we still have a lot of unknowns there. We'll wait till we get a little bit further out. And this is of course also not a review of 2012 movies in general. I got to save that one for December. But overall, I was very happy with this summer. Hopefully we'll have an excellent fall and holiday season and get some great movies out there. I know I'm going to be hurting. My pocket's going to be hurting as I got to go out and buy some DVDs because the Avengers is on the DVD to get list. The Dark Knight's on there, obviously. The Expendables 2's on there. Ugh. Prometheus is on there. Jesus. I'm going to be spending some money there. And I still haven't picked up the Hunger Games yet. Well, hasta luego, everybody. Stay tuned for, of course, more reviews of games, movies, random rants, and, of course, other random stuff that I will probably think of. See you around, and, of course, as always, subscribe, favor, all that stuff that people usually do to whore themselves out on YouTube. Hasta luego.